Welcome. In front of me, I have a OPPO Pad Air, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick overview of this product. So anyway, jumping straight off, you can probably see the, let's say inspiration, but this is a little bit more than just inspiration. The freaking thing looks literally like an iPad, even with the writing on it, But anyway, regardless, we're just gonna pop it open. For some reason, we have a little bit of paperwork sticking out right here. Let's pop and see what we got inside. I'm very curious, what is that it couldn't be inside of the box? Instruction. Nice. Anyway, here we got our tablet. I'm gonna just set it to the side for now. And we get... Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? No, it's just paperwork. Okay. Now in here we get a nicely placed charger, which looks to be about 20 watts. No, off by 2. So this is an 18-watt charger. And a cable, type C to type A. And that looks to be all. For such a gigantic box, not much inside. I honestly was expecting that there will be some kind of case maybe for it, or pen, or at least something, but no, just a big box with a whole lot of nothing. So let's see. Now, once it starts turning on, I can touch upon the display. So this is a 10.36 inch display. It's an LCD IPS display, 1 billion colors, and a typical brightness of about 360 nits. Additionally, it has 80% or 80.5% screen to body ratio with 225 pixels per inch. So that's basically the entirety of the display settings right here, or specs. Now, as you can see, the bezels are not necessarily like super thin. This is a little bit zoomed out, so the bezels might seem a little bit actually like on the camera, at least looking at this screen. They seem a little bit bigger on the camera rather than how they look to me in person. It's just, I think it's how far the device is. Just as a comparison, this device isn't like super big. This is the controller for Xbox, and you can see the device is pretty small. Now, let's keep on going. So, in terms of battery right here, we are looking at a pretty decent battery size of 7,100 milliamp hours, and that battery is powering a Snapdragon 680. It's a 4G chipset, so that leads me to believe that we actually might have some mobile connectivity in here. So let's see what we get on the tray. Nope, never mind, we just have a SD tray right here. But it looks like it could possibly be probably purchased maybe with the SIM tray as well, considering it's a little bit longer and it just has the filling covered for the SIM. Now, in terms of storages, because we have a couple options, we have the very base version, which comes with 64 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM. Then we have 128 gigs of storage, 4 gigs of RAM, and 128 with 6 gigs of RAM. So there we go. All these storages come with the storage type of UFS 2.2. So it's more towards like the mid-budget range phones or devices in general, which the price of this device kind of puts it a little bit higher than I would have expected it, to be honest. So we are looking at about 300 euros for this tablet. Now, it's nothing super expensive, but it's also not necessarily cheap, considering at the moment the only good thing that I see right here is the big battery, but we have a over 10 inch display, so one would expect we have a decent battery. and the Snapdragon, which is more of like a mid-range processor, so 680. But that's about it. Nothing at the moment from the list really shows me where that price went in. Now, so let's continue. Maybe we'll find something. In terms of cameras, at the front we have a 5 megapixel selfie, 1080p, 30 frames if you're planning to shoot videos with it, or just like maybe Zoom calls. And at the back we have a 8 megapixels that can also shoot at 1080p, 30 frames, so not much of a difference right here. So there we go. Now, going down the list, looks like we don't even have a fingerprint sensor right here, so it's a little bit of a bummer. I'm just looking at the specs right here, and there's not much here. So yeah, just to finish this off, because this seems to be a fairly bare bones device in all honesty. So we have a good battery, just as a pros and cons right here. So we have a pretty good battery, and charger included in the box, which in certain cases I would consider that a positive, considering some other devices that cost significantly, and I mean significantly more, don't come with a charger, which is an absolute like middle finger in my opinion, but this one does, so that's nice. So yeah, we have a charger, decent battery, and a mid-range processor, which that's basically it. Now, I could basically arguably consider almost everything that is run-of-the-mill right here as a con, just because nothing really substantially adds to the price. Nothing really makes up for the price that you need to pay right here. So you get a run-of-the-mill display. It's an IPS only LCD instead of something like an AMOLED. Has no high refresh rate. The brightness is only at 360 nits. The screen to body ratio also not very great at 80%. Pixel density, again, nothing really special, 225 with the 1200 by 2000 resolution. So again, could have been better, considering phones usually have a pixels per inch at about 400. This is, I would say, like a sweet spot where you don't see any kind of pixelations. So the image will look super sharp. Here we basically have half of that. So again, in terms of storages and RAM capacities, also not blowing any kind of things. So 4 gigs is pretty low. Honestly, if you're buying this device, I would at least recommend going for the 6, which stupidly is the highest end model. So you can, for instance, get 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage, which probably would be something that some people might be looking for. So you're kind of forced to go with the 128 and 6 gigs of RAM, which the 6 gigs will make a bit of a difference here. Again, cameras, nothing special here. Even the charger right here, even though it comes with the box, it's only 18 watts, and this device is only capable of being charged at 18 watts. So that's just to kind of put that out there, slower than Samsung devices like this one, which I consider this to be a pitifully shit charging speed at 22 watts. This is even less, while the battery is basically double the size. So this is a device that you will be charging either while you're using it, if the battery is dying, and you're going to be charging it pretty slowly, or it's one of those that you plug in for the night. But yeah, so there we go, that's about it. Now, there is one more thing that I didn't mention, that it is running a new Android, so Android 12 with the ColorOS 12 as well. So there we go. This basically sums the device entirely. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.